expressions to narrow down the view of your data set. In this case, the main view shows you all the data sets displayed within the library selected here. If you select a different data set, it shows the metadata on the right side. So, for example, if we were to go to the CM concomitant medication, you would start the query expression by going to the Tools menu and clicking on the Query option. This presents to you the various criteria that you can create with placed upon the data that you selected. In this case, the library is CDIS, and the data set is the CM data set. So the most simple query can have one criteria condition. For example, you can select on the variable selection here. This will list all the variable names within that data set. I'm going to select the subject ID, and then you can browse to see what the possible values are for that data set. In this example, there are these 5 or so patients. So if I were to select on one of them and leave the operator to be equal, meaning that it has to be exactly 14 in order for that view, the query to be subset for that data set. So let's go ahead and apply that by clicking on the OK button. You can see the criteria that we created is shown above, and all patients for that data set is shown here in terms of patient 14. So that narrows it down to only 4 patients within the original data set containing 36 different rows. So that's how you would create a very simple one criteria. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to do a compound expression. So, for example, I can still select the different subject ID here, but, for example, I can select on another one, another patient, 01, and I can change that operator to be, for example, greater than. So this will be all the other patients that are greater than this 01. And I can have a second criteria. For example, if I were to click on the different modified reported name and see what the values of that is. You can also change the operator among, as an example. These little asterisks show me that I can have multiple values. So if I were to click on Browse and go to, it shows me all the possible values. I can select multiple values. In this case, I select 3 different values for the CM modify, and it will show it to me with the comma separator. So if I were to tab over here, you can see that the comma, I'll zoom in as well to show you in case it's kind of small. The comma indicates that it's the separated by the various terms. So move back. And now I can go ahead and apply that condition. Now note that I did an AND, so both conditions have to be met. Subject ID here and the modify has to be among these terms I've selected. And click on OK. It's going to build that. Well, I guess the criteria is so strict that there are no results. If I were to expand that and create different conditions, I may have some values here. But as you can see, it shows me both criteria up here with the CM modify with these possible terms and the unique subject ID. I'll go ahead and zoom in here for you to see that these are 2 different criteria making up that one condition, which is a little bit too restrictive since the result is that I have no values. But it just shows you how you can narrow down. If you loosen up the criteria a little bit, then perhaps you can get to the specific data point that you want. So you can build these expressions by selecting on any of the variables I'll do one last one where I'm going to select 3 different conditions here. I'll just type in examples here. And one thing to note is that if you have more than two, in this case 3 criteria, and you click on the combined, notice that, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit too. Notice that when I click on combine here, that it combines the first 2 criteria with parentheses. But if I click on combine underneath down here, you'll see that, I'm sorry, if I combine these 2 down here, 2 and 3, notice that the parentheses has changed. I'll zoom in just a bit for you to see. So this example shows a difference in the parentheses. If I click on the first one again and remove, you see how the parentheses has changed. So that's how you can do and or type conditions. If I click on or, that means it's going to apply these 2 conditions first, and then after that combine it with the 3rd criteria. So you can really fine-tune your expressions to have multiple compounded criteria to capture the exact query that you need.